you guys. So, my name is Carmen, and I'm a firm believer that hip-hop is the biggest revolution we see in education today. Before we're gonna jump into the nice part as to why I believe this, first I want to establish some context with you guys. I'm gonna do this in 2 minutes. That's about the time you brush your teeth every day. So it's gonna be short. We're gonna break down the educational system in Holland and in America as to how it became what it is today. Okay, I see a collective nod. Okay, so for all you Dutchies, in the 1800s, Holland had a major identity crisis. People didn't feel like Dutch citizens. Because this was a political problem, they decided we need to hire somebody to make our citizens better. And they hired what they called een agent der opvoeding van de zeden. I tried to look up what this is in English, but it really doesn't translate. So if I'm gonna be really blunt, it would mean something like a police officer that is addressing the general public on how they should and shouldn't behave, while also educating a new generation how they should behave morally. You can assume this person wasn't liked very much. I thought you guys were gonna laugh now. Thank you. So, the sole job of this person was to make an education system for all the youngsters in Holland so that they would grow up with 3 things. A sense of what it is to be a proper Dutch citizen. They would speak a collective Dutch tongue, and they would be educated in the history of our royal Dutch nation. After this, we go back. We have some industrial revolution. A lot of factories came to Holland, and people started working there more. When children were also working there from poor families, for instance, Holland decided that we should have a law against child labor, which in reality meant that families who for centuries have held their own estates and their own family business, giving the knowledge from father to son and from mother to daughter, all of a sudden couldn't uphold this anymore because there was no time to teach their children because they were in school from 4 till 12 at this point, or even longer, and obligated to be there. At this point, we had a little bit of a reform because the education was getting broader. Teachers were also meant to teach children how to always be on time and how to follow instructions to the letter. The role of the teacher was to make sure children know their place and obey. This was obviously a political move, with the sole goal to raise good factory employees. At the same time, in America, a little bit of a different timeline perhaps, different agent of change, we see the same system arise with the same political goal. Some fun quotes from the man who was the agent of change there. The first vision he had on education was this: education is our only reassurance in politics. So it really doesn't say anything about why we should teach children or what we should be teaching them, other than politics. A second thing he said, which to me is actually pretty terrifying, I don't know about you guys, is that jails and education are complementary to each other. Meaning that the less you had of education, the more you need of jail. This is terrifying, right? This says something about the man who designed this system in its core. I'm gonna circle back to that a little later. This man had a lot of ideas on how we should teach children. One of them is that he invented a new way of learning people how to read and write. They said to the general public, we need public education, so everyone in America will be able to read and write. At that point in time, 20% of Americans was illiterate, so they couldn't read or write enough to survive on a daily basis. He invented a method of words, so a technique that is based on presenting a child one full word at a time instead of one letter at a time. The rest of the world collectively, already centuries before and still now, presents it with one letter at a time. But not in America. They still maintain this technology of teaching a child one word at a time. And it has made, I'm gonna need some help here from someone, everything worse, because now, not only 20%, but
21%
of Americans are illiterate, so they cannot read and write at all, which is 1% more, if I can calculate this correctly.